Hello, my name is Brandi Hofer, your host and founder of Color Me Happy, a community podcast and book, all of which I started in my in-home studio whilst in the throes of motherhood. I am an artist, author, educator, and mother to 3 beautiful boys. We live and create together in our in-home studio that is tucked away in the quiet Canadian prairies. Our podcast and community was built to empower and inspire. We chat about everything from motherhood, the art world, business, and health in the most honest and authentic way. It's totally unedited and unfiltered. If you love what we do here, become a part of our free community, Color Me Happy. We have grown the community to support our members with features and interviews. Our link is in the notes. Thank you for being here. I sure do appreciate your time. Hello, welcome to Color Me Happy podcast. My name is Brandi Hofer, your host. Thank you so much for being here today. I sure do appreciate your time. I'm so excited about this podcast because I love the Milan Institute and I love Ellie Milan and her whole production family. They all work together to create this beautiful vision that supports creatives. So I'm so happy Dimitra and Jake are here to share, how it's all going and their life before they got into parenthood, which is really cool, actually. And I hope to have them on to follow up with a part 2 to see how it's all going. I know they moved since this episode, so I'm really excited to see what they're up to. And in this episode, we also discussed the benefits of diversifying income, specifically around art licensing with Dimitra's experience, especially if you go back into our first podcast interview with her and her experience with galleries and then transitioning into her own business and career to take the reins on her business and financial stability because she suffered from burnout very early on. So it's a very great, inspiring story. And it leads me to our new class that's coming out this month in 2 weeks. We have a big wait list. So you can message me at Brandi Hofer Studios on Instagram if you'd like to learn more or be on that wait list. But we are supporting creatives in a very authentic way about diversifying your income and making it work and not suffering from burnout. I too suffered from burnout, and that led me to setting up multiple sustainable and passive income streams. So this class is there to find what you could do as a passive income stream, like maybe 5 things over, the course of a year or 2, adding into your creative practice. And then you'll start seeing areas where you can thrive and get a lot of financial freedom and really nice balance or maybe do your Dora the Explorer's in the background, sorry. Do your creative passion full time while you're /parenting or while you're, you can maybe shift to part-time or whatever your life looks like. We're here to support you. And we're here to support you in more ways than that. We have our free Color Me Happy community on Facebook. You're free to join. Of course, this podcast is free. You're welcome. And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. And diving into this episode, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Red Bicycle Communications, Oasis Hot Yoga and Spin Studio, BioClean Disaster Services, and Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center. Oh my gosh, I did that all on one breath. Yes. I love this balance. I'm excited. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm teaming up and collaborating. This movie is so loud behind me. With Shannon Amy Art, who actually was the reason why I set up passive and sustainable income sources. I was in her mastermind course 4 years ago, and she's like, Brandi, it sounds like what you're doing right now is not sustainable. And I was like, yeah, Shannon, whatever. And then a year later after that, suffered from burnout, and her voice was echoing in my head. And we were both creating this class. She's doing a master class through another service, and I was creating this at the same time. So it was ideal timing to come together to support you in a real way, in an honest way. So we want to see other creatives thrive and make it possible for more creatives to thrive. So yeah, very obviously excited. So enjoy this episode, and we'll chat soon, my friend. Remember to reach out anytime at Brandi Hofer Studios on Instagram, and I will answer your message or question there. This whole meet. Thank you for meeting me, because I know you're at a stage in your life where you probably don't care about anything but having your baby.
Well, no, we definitely care about this, but it is something that's just constantly on our mind, because I don't know, it could be any day, any moment.
I told her the whole Christmas analogy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is hard to stay focused with painting and other business related things. It's just, I feel very distracted.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's like this. It's not your fault. It's just the way it is, right? I remember the first pregnancy, I remember just being like, I can't be at work anymore. Like, I really don't care. And it's starting to show. And I just need to go organize every space in my home. It's nesting. I need to organize every space in my home and just be there. But I definitely don't want to be here.
Yeah.
That's when I was working full time. But
yeah,
everything changed after that. I mean, your jobs are very different than what that job was. And then, I remember the third pregnancy just being like, it's time. And you think you know by that time, but it was just, Braxton Hicks and false labor, and be like 4 a.m. I'd have my bags and just be like on the driveway ready to go. And then I'd be like, oh, I don't think I'm in labor this time. That was like 3 mornings in a row, and I was so exhausted. Yeah. And then when Teddy did come, my nurse friend came over that night, and she's like, because she works in maternity, she's like, they're delivering 2 babies right now as we speak. Wow. And she's like, don't go in. I think this is just false labor again, because we had all those nights. I was like, okay. And she's like, because that was 4 minutes apart, and then this one was 8. And then she left, and 5 minutes later, I just like laid down, and I was laying with Gus in my bed, and I was like, this is labor. This is not normal. You've got to go. And then Teddy I just remember being like, oh my gosh, it's going to fall out on the way down the stairs. And like, we ran, like we had a nurse friend being like, I don't think you're in labor. And we ended up, really rushing to the hospital. And actually it was so odd, because 2 Hofer babies were born that same, I wasn't related to them, but it was just a weird night.
Weird.
Some weird moon cycle was happening, and all the Hofer babies were being delivered all at the same time.
So wait, you mean like it wasn't a relative that was a Hofer, or
just another?
No, so there's like Hutterite colonies near where I live, and a very common last name is Hofer. So there were some women from the colonies having babies that night. Like one had this was her 7th, and one it was her 6th. And I was like, I bet they're really enjoying this hospital stay, because I have 2, and I'm really enjoying my burger covered in gravy without any disturbance. And just the baby, like baby Teddy. But you're feeling good, and you're excited / nervous.
Yeah, really, really excited. I am a little nervous, because I don't know what it feels like. I don't know what to expect, but we're doing a home birth, so we're just doing it all natural, and yeah,
as much as you can control ish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the plan.
I showed up to my doctor's office with a birth plan, and he's just like, he like tapped it to the side. He's like, we're just gonna get you out of here, okay? I was like, oh, okay. Sure. Okay. I was like, good thing I put in a month of work on that birth plan, because you just don't know, and you're nervous because you don't know those things, and you want to plan, but then of course he's done it like 20,000 times, so then you're like, this is not, I guess, something you can plan. Right? Is that what I'm getting from you right now? It sounds like, and then after 3 births, you're like, it's definitely not something that you expect or plan. It doesn't go the same at all. ever. And we talked about it way back when I started my podcast. Actually, my nurse friend came on and talked about the beauty of birth, and I think it's nice. My sister-in-law is doing a home birth too, or something, or a birthing center, like different route, and it sounds like a beautiful, beautiful, well-ish experience. Hard but beautiful experience.
Yeah.
I love that. So you're all set up?
Yep. Pretty much. I think we're ready.
Yeah, I mean, we got all the towels, we got all the mattress covers, extra sheets, we got pads for the bathtub. We've done as much preparation as we can. We got like all the snacks and stuff, champagne for afterwards.
Yes.
Especially for me.
Yeah. No, it is something to celebrate. And were you weren't expecting to, or were you wanting, because I remember we chatted,
Yes.
and
I remember
and he was like, "Oh, you make kids sound so fun." And I was like, "Really? Okay." And it wasn't long after that.
Nope. Well, it was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were in Greece, and that's when we found out. I knew, like, I don't know. There was like a week that I didn't want to drink alcohol. Like, I was just, it sounded terrible. I was like, it's terrible for me. I'm not going to drink at all. And it's hard because in Greece, like, we were with people every day, and it's like a party every day. We go out to eat every night, and everyone's drinking wine. And for some reason, I just didn't want it. Like, it sounded really bad to me. And then I didn't think anything of that other than I had like an epiphany or something. and then I took a test, and because, some other things weren't making sense, and it was positive, and we were just both shocked. We're like, how did that happen? Like, I don't know.
We when she took the test, it was like a very, like, immediately, it shows negative, right? Like, immediately.
Or just one line.
We had a pregnancy, like, I don't want to call it scare, but like, we thought that she was pregnant previously and taken a test, and it was, negative, obviously. And it was negative right away on that one. And then later on, it was negative too. So for some reason, we just thought that, like, or she thought that it was going to be negative because, like, 1 minute after it was negative. And so she was like, oh, okay, we're in the clear, and then I was like, well, it says to wait 10 minutes. So then, we waited 10 minutes, started going about our day. And then I think you grabbed the test again.
Yeah.
And you're like, what does it mean if there's a second faint line? What does a second faint line mean? And I was like, let me see this. Wait a second. Let me pull out the instructions. Look at the instructions.
Yeah.
Faint line means pregnant. Oh my gosh. So
yeah, I was in shock for like a few days. But
yeah, I bet. And you were in the middle of something, right?
Yeah,
we were
Something
filming.
pretty big.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were filming the third season of The Outstanding Artist. So that was a huge project, which now we're actually editing. So that's super cool. It's taken a while to, kind of get it into the editing phase, but and to get the right editor for it. Our previous editor was fantastic, but we have found someone new to do it, who's a little bit more flashy with the editing. But anyways, it was just such a crazy experience finding out. Well, actually, no, it was right after we finished filming. No, we were still filming. Yeah. It was on like the last 2 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was wild. And we tried to wait to tell people. We were like, wait. Immediately she calls her mom, and she's like, I want to get a second opinion.
To make sure that it was like actually positive, I just didn't trust that we knew.
No, I was like holding up the instructions, of like, says positive right here. And her mom's like, Dimitra, that means you're pregnant. And then we were like, should we wait to tell people? Should we have it be a surprise? Some people, they wait like 3 months or so, or they wait even longer. And in Greece, I guess it's tradition to wait until the last trimester.
I don't. That was so long.
Yeah, and we are just not that way.
No.
I called like all my family members immediately. I was like, "Look at this!" Showing them the pregnancy test, and it was quite the ecstatic day. Even though we weren't expecting and we weren't trying, we were still really happy. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like it is perfect timing. Like, I think God knows, it was meant to be. So.
yeah, exactly.
You're feeling that pull in that direction. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story. So yeah, I remember too, just like it was only 9 weeks, and I was just like, it's just not possible. And especially when you're close with your family, right? You're like, well, first of all, need to, yes, double check with my mom. Right?
Yeah.
Double check. Let's just make sure. And then yeah, tell everyone who's close, right? Immediately. And it's so great. I'm glad this experience has gone so positively for you. So how have you been, like, what have you guys been up to, like, beyond releasing that season, like coming off of, like, that's a big deal, that like going to Greece and don't you have a residency too
Yeah, so
happening?
we were doing an artist residency we did two separate like batches. I don't know if batches is the right word, but we did two separate months, and we had artists come out, like around 10 artists come out for a month and do an artist residency, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We don't have any plans to do any this year so far, just because a lot of things are kind of up in the air for us. And with us having a baby, and Ellie's getting more busy as well with her own art, it's just a little bit harder for us to swing that again. But we have a lot of stuff going on. I recently became the marketing director for the business, and so that's been a lot of more responsibility.
Yeah.
And we've scaled up quite a bit in terms of all of our activities across the board. So that has been definitely really busy time for me. And in preparation too for getting the baby here, trying to get things in order so that all of the team members are equipped to kind of continue with a little bit less of communication from me. And then we're really focusing on our YouTube channel right now and expanding. We've been posting around 2 videos per week. And we did this new series called Start to Finish that I really like. And it basically just follows an artist creating a painting from start to finish, from like the idea stage. And we really interview the artist and try to dig deep into like their whole thought process behind the painting. And we have this super solid production director now who has a ton of experience. He actually immigrated from Ukraine and to work with us, and he is just really awesome. Shout out to Alex if he's listening to this. When he listens to this, I'm gonna send it to him. But yeah, he's been super fantastic and increasing the quality of our production. So, and managing all the editors and stuff. So yeah, our team has been expanding quite a bit. And so I'm getting used to doing more meetings and less tasks. So that's been a weird transition.
Does that feel strange?
It definitely does. Like, it feels really weird. I never imagined at 24 managing like 10 different people, it's weird. But
That's a lot.
yeah, it's pretty cool though. I mean, I feel very blessed and very fortunate.
Yeah.
That 24, are you sure? You guys seem so much, yeah, you seem definitely, and I'm sure you get that all the time, older than you are, like more mature, and especially where you are in your lives, and the things that you are accomplishing, and you're doing so well at it too. It's not just like you've stepped into something, like you're thriving, and you're organized, and you're creating something. I know when I talked to Ellie, your mother, like her dream for what this is and what it could be, and like it's just like all of this is coming into fruition in this way. And so how do you feel about that? How do you feel about like her initial, like she talks about dreams and she talks about like visions and I mean, a lot of them have come true, but how do you feel on taking on that responsibility?
Well, it feels like really so exciting and such a blessing. And it feels really good, really sharing that vision with her, not just feeling like it's like
her vision.
Like it's her vision.
Yeah.
Like, we've discussed it so much, and she's really been such a great leader and inviting us into that and inviting us to like share in that and even expand it in some areas too, and add our own, like her whole heart is to, as much as the family and other people too, not just the family, but as much as the family wants to be involved, they can be. And so that's really cool. And it's been a lot of responsibility, you know, but it has, and I'm not saying I'm like running it or anything. I'm just in charge of the marketing and, you know, that side of it. But it's definitely been a blessing.
Yeah. I feel like it's evolved, like it's gone past probably what she had initially. Well, you know, that's what you do when you visualize things, like you leave wiggle room for what it could be. And because we don't know all the answers all the time. And there is a path that can play out in so many different directions. But she's left room for all of your personalities, and it's become this beautiful, beautiful thing that's affected so many people's lives.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, in some, to your point, some areas of the vision have definitely expanded. And then some areas we probably won't even realize the true potential of those visions until, you know, like 4 or 5 years from now. Who knows? Depends on
some of them
marketing,
are
but
really big. That could be 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
yeah, the commune where everyone lives on
that's what we're talking about.
their own island. Yes.
Sometimes we want to buy a Greek island, our own retreat center. That's serious. I do want to do that one day. But yeah, we don't know. Like sometimes we talk about it and we think, could we do this in the next few years? Who knows? Like maybe we could.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to say.
We've been seriously, you know, looking into some massive properties and looking and looking not just in Georgia too, but like in Florida, particularly actually. But it's really exciting, and we're getting a lot more organized, kind of as you said before, and predictably successful. Like I feel like some of the success that we had before, or a lot of the success really was attributable to Dimitra's Instagram following and you know, utilizing the following that she had built. And now we're developing this like really predictable advertising machine, for lack of a better word. And it's been learning a lot, and it's very, from a business perspective, very what is the right word? I want to say like comfortable knowing that you've built a system that is repeatable and
right.
predictable.
Yes. Oh, well, it's reassuring.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I love that there's really no limit. Like you have these dreams, and you know, so many artists, like the art world is not the easiest place to sit. Like I feel it too. I feel all the time this pressure and that feeling of insecurity of, you know, when's the next sale. So I too have changed systems and adjusted into a place where, of course, when you bring a family into this world, like you can't just go with the sporadic stuff anymore, you know. And Jenna Kutcher, that I don't know if you probably have heard of Jenna Kutcher in the business realm and marketing, but she talks about how people have these huge Instagram followings or these big social media followings, but they haven't set up systems around that. Like there's like, why are you doing it? Oh, just so people can view your face? Like, why are you doing these things, right?
Yeah, it is. It's getting harder to predict what will catch, or like what will, because you want to, like, creating videos is also this really creative experience where it is kind of its own art form. Like,
It is fun.
yeah, it's fun, but and it's time consuming. And I wish, like, you could know the secret formula to creating these videos that get people to, like, know about you, like reach a new audience. And
without
like
having to sacrifice your own authentic like brand and
Mhm.
message, you know, because like I think the formula is hopping on trends, right? If you want to, and even then trends still aren't like guaranteed, but then you have to think about the audience that you're reaching when you do hit those trends. Like it's not even your audience, it's not even the people that you want to view your videos, because you know they're just looking at this trend as a whole and they're just seeing this and it's more ephemeral, whereas like definitely takes a lot more time and effort into building a true authentic brand and posting a lot that way, and developing a following that way. But that, as we were kind of talking about and alluding to, is eroding away on Facebook and Instagram, or Instagram particularly, because of the lack of reach, you know. So
But you're right. It's a smart move. And Jenna Kutcher always talks about just like building subscriber lists. It's all my main focus the whole time has been building my subscriber list. And
yeah,
of course, has, right? Like obviously just so big, which is great because that's always yours.
Yeah.
And it's when you hop into someone's inbox, it's a personal interaction, and it's an important one. And you're right, like when you think about social media and what you're doing, like in the back of your head, it should always be, because it is so time consuming, like what is this for? Why am I doing it? Why am I doing it?
yeah,
Is it to get views, or are we guiding them somewhere, right? Is there a
exactly.
purpose behind it? Are they seeing value? Are they taking something away? Are they, and yeah, for the average person, that's a challenge, is because we've all been sitting in this for years, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like another thing with social media is that you're forced to like reinvent yourself over time if you want to like tap into new audiences that are relevant. And it's tough to, you know, it's like having a breakthrough in your art. You can't force these breakthroughs all the time, right? But it's
No.
yeah, it's almost like you're forced to synthesize breakthroughs in your own messaging or branding on social media.
The only things that do well for me now is when I'm like this close to the camera with my face, saying something so vulnerable, and I'm like, I can't do this every time. First of all, I don't like, I've never liked being on camera. Like, so I just like, this fun stuff with kids and the like, oh, we did this, and time lapses like aren't as effective. It's only when I'm like looking people directly in the lens, like you can't even look at your own face in the camera, like you look into the lens, so there's the human connection, which doesn't make you feel human at all. And it's vulnerable and it's hard,
Yeah.
but for some reason it's the most effective, annoyingly way to go for what's going on. But again, like I don't know the answers, and I guess you know what my Auntie Gwen says, and it's in my book. It says, she said to me one day, and we were in the garage and I was feeling overwhelmed, and she said, the only thing that I am sure of is that the sun will rise and set every day. The rest is beyond my control.
Yeah, that's really good.
I know. And I can't believe I remembered it. And then I put it in my book.
Yeah, you have to immortalize that, you know? That's really
Yeah. I don't
that's
know if it was actually hers or like she heard it somewhere, but for now it's Auntie Gwen.
until someone else, you know, fact checks it.
Claims it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I did have an editor like doing fact checks and
Oh, okay.
sourcing all my quotes. So I guess it is Auntie Gwen.
That's good.
She was really good. She was a very good detective and found like everything, like whether it was like someone said it in a podcast or whatever. She did a good job because like obviously my my book was a creative mind dump, right? It's like an abstract painting in a book.
I mean, that's awesome though, you know, and sometimes it's nice not having that formulaic structure in a book. It's nice to be guided through this abstract journey of words.
Yeah, yeah. And just like, how can I help and guide people with what I know, right? What have I learned so far in life? And what are they taking away when they read these words? How are they connecting to these pages? And I think that's where I found like value and purpose in my creative journey. And those shifts, you kind of have to honor them as uncomfortable as they are. Um, because now, like, instead of like, I'm still continuing my studio practice, but I'm not so concerned about like creating bodies of work every year, and like I don't need a new collection every spring and fall. I can just work at my own pace and not taking a ton of custom orders, because I've got these community projects that mean so much. Like, they're so much more important than that to me right now. For example, we're doing a 2,600 foot mural project finally, which you guys have known about for a while, but it was like, when can it happen? Is it approved? And now finally, 2 years later, it's called Choose Love and Join Hands in Truth and Reconciliation. So it's representing our Indigenous community and surrounding area at heart of Treaty 6. So we are actually moving forward with it on June 30th of this year. And like, that means like I have to put all of myself into that. And then we founded Art Academy in the fall of last year, and like, that's working with youth. So like, what can creativity do? What does it mean? And it can mean so many different things. And I have found a lot of purpose in sharing my creative journey and then having purpose behind those actions. But I have to say, it's a huge shift from just painting and like running a studio practice to like speeches, really long speeches in front of 300 people. And in those uncomfortable situations, but they push you beyond yourself, right? Because you're this vessel, and a conduit of this information. And if you didn't say it, who would, right? And when it comes to helping people and creating a safe space through creativity, like, I can't even put words to the way I feel. But it's a huge shift from what I was doing.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I feel like you're kind of exemplifying the future of the role of artists and culture too, you know, like artists. And when I say artists, I mean, like, you know, I'm talking specifically to painters, but really, I mean, all artists, right? And that is being multifaceted. That is being able to cross over boundaries and, you know, like you said, be a speech writer or a public speaker, you know, be an author, do not just your, you know, portfolio paintings, but giant 2,600 square foot murals. By the way, congratulations. That is so awesome.
That's huge.
It's very huge.
Exciting.
Very huge. And it's going really well because we have to obviously fundraise, and the community is coming behind it in such a beautiful way, which, you know, you never know, but with what it represents, it's so important. So, but it's true. And this is a perfect thing for creatives to know, is that it's not going to look the same for you. Like this, you just have to honor, the building blocks of the foundation of what you created, and then see where it goes. I never obviously expected any of this to happen. I did decide to shift my practice for sure, because I had, 15 years or so in the art world, and for me, I was exhausted by the, gallery model. And so how can I take something into my own hands? And that's what you have all done there. Like, you have taken these things into your own hands. And like you talked about in the first podcast that we did, like you took your business into your own hands. And so many people resonated with that. And actually, I talked about it in my book. And I think it was titled like Be Your Own Boss, because you felt like you were just churning things out and you were exhausted by that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, just like what specifically? Like the
Yeah, that I did. That was a long question. But when you shifted from self-represent like into self-representation.
Well, it was a big shift, and in the beginning I felt like so much freedom. Like it was I didn't know what to do with it. Like it felt so, and I was in this routine of creating 6 to 8 originals every single month, for my publishers, and they would put those in galleries. And it felt like no matter, like if I did that, they just wanted more the next month. Like they were super happy, but like if I could do more, that'd be better. So
Which, how old were you? Like, that's so much pressure.
16. So
Yeah, that's insane.
yeah. Well, it's because they were selling them and they were excited.
Right.
The money.
And you're supposed to be excited about that, because
Yeah.
that's every painter's dream, right?
Yeah, and it was exciting, and I am so grateful that I had that experience. Like it really gave me so much confidence and belief, and I mean, it gave value to my work, because before that, like they weren't selling at gallery prices. So having these publishers, like they were adding value to my work. And anyway, after deciding that was just not the right route for me anymore.
Well, what was the reason? Like if you
Yeah, it was because I couldn't see, like I would give them ideas and tell them, like it was a lot of things combined, but with Instagram growing and getting this bigger following through Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, it was like really taking off, and I was able to connect with so many people through social media, and that was so new for me. And I was realizing, like, wow, these people want to buy my paintings, and they're living in countries, like it's all over the world, and they're not able to go to these galleries and buy my paintings. And it felt so exclusive. I also wasn't allowed to paint anything on the side to sell to these people. I had to send everything to the publishers. They were like, it was a very exclusive contract. So
total control. Yeah.
Yeah. So like looking back, I should have.
Well,
I don't know.
You were
I
15.
was so young, and my parents were like, they also didn't know. So, I mean, they gave me the best advice they could, and it was still, like I said, a great experience. But with all that control, it was getting to be too much, and I was thinking, there's no end. Like I'm in this like hamster wheel or machine, and I'm not gonna, like, their only solution to getting, like, for me to grow and get bigger and have more success was to paint more paintings somehow.
Yeah.
And they were even trying to do shady stuff too. Like they wanted her parents to paint Dimitra's paintings and sign Dimitra's name on it, which is like,
yeah.
You could get some help. Like they were like putting it gently, and they're like, what if your parents like helped you? Like what if they, or your sisters? Oh my God.
Oh man. Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, that's when you know you're like, this maybe isn't the best.
Yeah, and they're
thing
only
for me.
I guess the biggest thing was the business model of the galleries. Like they only wanted to sell my work in galleries, and they weren't really open to selling direct to my collectors. They didn't really see the value of having social media and selling through my website. Like the website was just, I had one that they built for me, but it was just for branding and for galleries to look at. Like it wasn't, their whole model was built on the gallery system. And I felt like the future, that it just wouldn't work. So yeah, that's the reason I decided to be on my own.
And they were really controlling too of the look of your paintings too,
They
not
were.
only the quantity.
They were in the beginning, and then they relaxed over time because they
Okay.
saw that it was selling.
Yeah.
The stuff I wanted to paint was selling.
Wow.
So,
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, it's so hard when someone's like when something is working. Like that was really brave for you to
It was
like
consistent income every month. Like as an
yeah.
artist, it's a dream. Like to know that your paintings are in all these galleries and are going to sell, and you just have to paint, and there's like a company that handles all the marketing and stuff for you. But there's like drawbacks to that too. You don't have the control. You're not in charge really of who you are, your brand, and your audience. Like it was so exclusive. So yeah, there was the bad outweighed the good.
Actually, I was talking to my friend the other night at a gala event, and he does videography, and there is like it's a challenge because he can't expand and grow because like he's tried so many times and he can't find someone to make those videos the way he makes them, and with the same creative voice. And I feel like a lot of creatives sit there like because all these systems are not set up for like creating passive income when you're just doing it yourself. And finding the time to set those systems up, I think, is a huge challenge if you don't have a team or someone behind it. Do you guys have any advice for people who are in those situations?
Yeah, I would say that like one of the most important things to do as an artist to set up that like consistent income that you're talking about is to tap into multiple different verticals within art. Like you have to really reach out to a lot of different, licensing companies, a lot of licensors. That is a good consistent way, and get in different types of products within those licensing. Because, if you're trying to sell all of these products yourself, you're going to sell a little bit on your website, but compared to you licensing your art to someone, for example, Dimitra did this licensing deal with this puzzle company, and they consistently send like around $2,000 to $4,000 every quarter, which is, it's not a ton of money, but that's like
consistent.
Great. It's just one consistent, and that's off of 3 puzzles alone. Now we're talking about doing another like 6 or 7 puzzles with them, and they are a huge company with a massive reach in puzzles and have their audience already figured out. And she's just licensing the right to her art assets that she's created to this company to use that for the products that they have a solid system for selling. And in addition, there's like the diamond puzzles.
Yeah, it's good to tap into like he's saying, all these different markets, because you're reaching so many people that you wouldn't normally reach. And just like selling, some people might think selling your work as a puzzle might somehow diminish your brand, or I don't know. It all depends on the quality of it.
Yeah.
And I look at it as you're reaching someone that you wouldn't normally reach. So it's cool that
not everyone can afford a $10,000 painting.
Yeah.
And that's their way of feeling like they have a piece of something you created. And I think I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And there was that, there still is that, opinion from or stereotype in the art world. Like if you are doing anything else but just, selling strictly your paintings, like I can't even create an oil right now because I don't have that time to like even mix. This is crazy, right? Like I'm just at this season of my life where I can't even mix oil paint to paint with it. Like, and then someone will come in here and then like rub their hands in it. And you're like, well, cool. Now it's all over your body and there to stay. And like, it's just, you have to honor where you're at. And I feel like be okay with what you're being presented with. Like, you can say no to people, especially, sorry, artists and creatives, if you're listening, do say no to the NFT person sending you a message.
Oh my God. I literally had
Yes.
someone today reach out to
I'm
me.
just like, ugh.
Not a real opportunity.
Every day. Yeah. So say yes to opportunities. Don't click on the links. Do not message those people back ever.
And that's the biggest
In the same breath, someone phoned me yesterday. They're just opening up a new space. And I'm like, yeah. I just looked at the clock. I was like, I am supposed to phone them. Just make sure that's not right now. Typical me move. So the thing is, like, these opportunities will come your way. I know it's and it's not going to look like just the one way. Like, your journey is not going to look like my journey at all. And if it's puzzles, it's something else. And you just never know. I love, like, Saatchi Gallery. They always throw you for a, oh, by the way, you're in the catalog that's going to 159,000 households in the United States. And you're like, thanks for the warning. Like, what? No, they are great. They did give me like a 1 month warning. Make sure you don't touch your art or change your prices. You're like, okay. But they're so big. They look after so much. But
Yeah.
you just never know. Like, but also you'll never know if you don't put yourself out there.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's one thing, where it is the artist's responsibility. Like, yes, like, if you, like, the more prolific you are, the more proactive you are, the more lucky you'll get, the more opportunities you'll have come to you. If you want to really have success as an artist, you have to make your success.
It's
You
so
have
true.
to go out there, you have to
I
Google
agree.
100 different licensing companies, write down their emails, figure out who's the best person to email, and then write an email to them or call them or both. Or if they're near you, drive by their office and go meet them in person. You have to go to 100 different galleries to get into them and talk and call them on the phone if you want to get in galleries. And I know, we kind of have talked against gallery system, but there is a place for galleries.
Yeah, I'm not
And
against
Sorry, I'm not against galleries either.
Yeah,
I
no.
have some great galleries that I work with.
Same.
And there are great galleries, and I've never been under a contract where they're like, you can only sell through me. They have been like very understanding and wonderful. And like, I just went with PXP to New York. Like, they are good. There are wonderful galleries doing that you can develop great friendships and relationships with. Just, I wouldn't sign a contract that you can be exclusive with one thing, because there are so many ways these days to promote yourself. And actually, in my book, there's a chapter specifically, no one can do this but you.
Yeah.
No one's going to advocate. I agree with you 1000%, Jake. Like, no one's going to advocate for you like you do. And when you think about a gallery, like, they're representing 50 other artists. They're not going to represent you the way that you're the heartbeat behind everything you do. You're going to move people, your words, what you're saying, your passion, and how people connect to the root of your work. And actually, I wanted to bring this up before when we talked about it. Writing, I think, is such an important skill to the foundation of you communicating who you are to the world and what your artwork means, because writing is the first step. It's the first step through your thought process of what you can say, how you can say it, what it means. And I think, like, morning pages and artist statements and poetry and whatever you're doing. And I think we don't talk about how it's a big enough skill as creatives. How do you feel about that?
No, I agree. I think it's important. We actually talked about this a little bit on a podcast a while ago. But yeah, I think, and I have this like yearning. I mean, I've talked about this with you in our last podcast, and I still, our book isn't finished, but
we've made some progress.
Good.
I would say a lot of progress, because now it's like organized. We have all the chapters outlined. And like probably half the book is written.
It's really taken so much longer than I thought it would, but
yeah, totally.
I feel like writing and art, it's so similar. And I have this yearning to really write, and whether it's poetry or telling stories, or because you're creating a picture in your mind, and it's like another way to paint. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so true. Yeah. And I mean, the better writer you are, the more you're able to exist outside of words and paint that picture inside of people's minds. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to kind of draw them out of the page and into the mind, right?
I think it's part of the process.
Yeah.
And it's a part of like decompressing, and it's a part of understanding what you're doing too, right?
Completely. And I think that now more than ever is like, even though there's all these AI tools, right, that are gauged at like helping people write anything, and
Right.
it's
I've
so
seen
accessible, and
that.
it's crazy how smart and how good these tools are at writing. But what it tells me is that the human story is more important than ever. Like you being
Yeah.
able to clearly and articulately um, uh, clearly articulate your that was ironic.
Yeah.
You being able to clearly articulate your story and communicate that in your own unique voice is just, it's more important than ever, because
That's what those are missing. So
yeah,
my teacher partner in Art Academy, oh, we joke about it, and he just put something in, and we were doing performance art, and we had it write our we had the kids writing and narrating their own scripts and stuff and perform them. So we did dinosaurs in space with a Forrest Gump accent and a sing-song at the end, like a singing number. And so then we performed it. But it's hilarious. But like, that's not a serious situation where you would be using this technology. We did it because it's funny. And but I did, like, he has used it and showed me. I haven't personally used it. But it's lacking the humanness of, obviously, because it's AI, of what you need to express to the world, the heartbeat, the soul, the everything. And I just hope people don't stop writing. It's scary, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
totally.
scary.
Well,
Might
and
be we're the last, well, you're a different generation than I'm, but like the last generations of, connecting to that, like it might go away a little bit. Sad.
it is, yeah. And I mean, I think that it will just, it's really hard to predict what's going to be the outcome, because
Right.
it's democratizing information even more. And it's not just democratizing information, but it's democratizing the way that information is sourced and communicated as well. It's like democratizing the ability to communicate information, not just find information, right? Like Google was the ability to find the information, but now you can say, write an SEO article about how to paint or how to find your voice as an artist. And it will literally write an article about how to, with the right H1 headings, H2 headings, and it'll even provide you like suggestions for images and stuff like that. Or if you're using Dolly, then you can just make the images right there within the AI as well. But like as I was saying before, the thing that's different is that people will have to get better at storytelling, and not just storytelling with like the formulaic, hero's journey type story, but really inserting like genuine
Putting you in that
thoughts
experience.
and putting you in that experience
Mhm.
more than ever, because these tools are very, very, very good at writing.
I know.
It's scary good.
I'm just like, I don't understand. I'm getting old. I feel older all the time when I'm just like, I don't understand. And I don't, like, I'm also to the point where I'm like, okay, so I'm 36, so I'm like more than 10 years older than you, but like to the point where you're like, I don't understand, so I don't feel like learning a new thing. Like,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like something like Instagram and readjusting. You're like, I'm getting too tired to readjust. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, do you hire someone or what? Like, and I think that's probably where I'm at. Just gonna be like, because when I'm doing big projects with purpose, I'm like, how do I see value in putting my time into something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And making sure that it's like, I mean, at least like feeding your purpose but also bringing you a return on investment, whether that's time or money or both, right? Or energy spent in that tool. Because
Right.
if you're a
Because
good creator,
Instagram ads versus like SEO, so search engine optimization, like that at least lasts and lingers,
yeah,
right?
and
Actually,
that's
I have hired someone. We are working on that.
oh good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we're investing so much in YouTube, because we see YouTube videos getting 2,000, 3,000 views per month over the course, like consistently on a linear level, and if anything, getting more views
1
over.
minute. Sorry.
Oh, it's
Keep
okay.
keep going. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are like you're seeing consistency over time and
Yeah.
and something that you're building. So that's like
Exactly.
that is a return on investment.
Mhm.
When things just get put out and die, that breaks your heart, and it's hard financially too.
Yeah.
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 Well, it was so nice to see you both, and I'm sure we'll talk more in the future. And good luck with everything.
Next time we see you, we'll have a little baby in our arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we can all.
If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.